Hello there and welcome to this American Civil War epic battle report. A slightly different one from my usual. This is a narrated report. Normally you see me rolling dice around the table, but for this one I took my entire collection down to my local gaming club, Redditch Table Top Gamers, and here in the UK in the Midlands, and decided to play a multiplayer game. So it's going to be a core level game between the Confederates and Union, obviously. Originally I had 6 players, so I had 3 per side, and I was going to kind of GM the game, take some photographs, etc. But unfortunately, due to a couple of illnesses, we've got a bit of COVID back in the UK at the moment, and one guy had a last minute parents' evening, although he probably just forgot about it and his wife told him off. So I was down to 3, so I ended up jumping in on the Union side. So it was basically me and a chap called Luke as the Union commanders, and then we had George and Mike as the Confederate commanders. And it was a great game. We're going to do another one again because I really enjoyed it. I took my entire collection down, so it's a core level game, as I said. So we adapted a scenario from the Glory Hallelujah supplement. There's a battery, I think it was, is it Bartlett's? Yeah, Battle for Bartlett's Farm. So we call it Battle for Redditch Farm. Now I actually have done Bartlett's Farm on my channel, so as a solo battle report, so you can watch that if you want to. But this is basically some still pictures that I've put together to show you the battle as we go through. So we've adapted it slightly to ourselves. But effectively, the Confederates it's a mid-war 1863 battle, and we used the force selector from Glory Hallelujah. So it's got the various periods of the war, and then what units you can choose from, and each one's got points basically, and then you can add a bit of flavour to those with some special rules, which we did. And created 2 forces. And the Confederates are basically attacking. The scenario is that the Union are occupying Redditch Farm, and the Confederates have kind of caught them off guard, really, trying to destroy them before the reserves and the reinforcements from the Union Army come into play. So that was the scenario. Really good fun. We had a great laugh doing it. I've not hosted a kind of that size game before with all those models, so it was quite nice to get everything out on the table, and the guys had a great time. They all kind of know black powder anyway, so it's quite easy to kind of just slightly adapt the game to the American Civil War rules as well. So, okay, so without further ado, I'll flick over. So this will be a kind of more of a stills, and I'll be talking over the top of it, it's the narration, and then hopefully you enjoy it, and yeah, we'll come back at the end. Right, so let's get on with this battle report then. So the first thing I'll do, I'll go through the force organisation and the forces for each side, and then we can get on with the game itself. So starting off with the Union, so this is the sheet I produced. This is all taken from the Glory Hallelujah supplements. This was the mid-war theatre selectors. So got your core commander there, command rating of 9, battlefield general. That basically means he can dish out his command rating to any of his divisional or brigade commanders that are in command range of him. And then first division, again, Army General, so this is where you can attach the general to one of the brigade commanders to give them a free reroll, and the Confederates really made great use of that rule throughout. In other words, you've got the rerolls from the divisional general and also using the corps commander's command rating, so a good combination of rules there. And then the first brigade, now all the command ratings were 8 after that, but what we did at the start of the game, we rolled for each brigade commander, and if you rolled a 1 or a 2, they got downgraded to a 7 command rating. And I think we all had 1 each that got downgraded across the divisions. So, and again, that really meant you have to think about where that corps commander or that divisional general goes to try and support, because 7 command ratings makes it a lot tougher to get movement going. So anyway, so first brigade we had, so the first division, you got first brigade of 3 regs and 1 light. I tried to think about the different armies. So the Union at this point in the war were, getting better, raising more troops. The Confederates had pretty much all the successes over the first couple of years of the war. So starting to see that balance of power shifting a little bit, or at least catching up. So I tried to reflect that in the forces. So in the second brigade, for example, they were all freshly raised. So again, 3 regs, 1 small. Just to represent kind of new units coming into the force. And also tried to make the artillery a little bit different. So the artillery was slightly better for the Union, so sort of representing better resources compared to that of the Confederates. So there was for divisional artillery, there were 2 batteries of 6 guns of 12-pounders, and you could either brigade those together and add another commander, or you could attach 1 battery to each brigade, which was what we decided to do, myself and Luke. So each of our brigades had a battery in support. And then the 2nd division, which was actually under my command, was 4 regs seeing the elephants. These guys were a little bit more longer in the tooth. They'd seen some action, knew what it was about, weren't about to go charging off unnecessarily. And then we had 3 regs, 1 light for this 2nd brigade. And the divisional artillery was slightly different. We had the 3-inch rifled guns, a 6-gun and a 4-gun battery. Difference between the rifles and the 12-pound is it's just the range, and also for the rifles you can see slightly less shooting at close range. So, and then finally an attached cavalry brigade. We didn't actually have anyone to particularly command this. That was 2 regular cavalry regiments with breech loaders, and also an attached horse artillery with a battery with 6-pounders with the Marauder special rule, so they could jump around the table without being near the commander. What we decided was, because it was just the 2 players, that we'd just decide where the cavalry could best support, and we also had made that decision with the corps commander as well. So that was the Union. So next I'll just come on and do the Confederates. Right, so here are the Confederates as well. So we've got very similar, got the corps commander and battlefield general, command rating of 9. And then we get into the brigades. So it's slightly different here. So I've gone for a bit more that these, the Confederates are a bit tougher, a bit more seasoned, I guess. So so we've got the first brigade was 3 regs, 1 small, but they were both brave, which means you can recover from shaken on a 4+. And then the 2nd brigade had 3 regs, 1 small regiment, and they all had the rebel yell. So that's the re-rolls in hand-to-hand combat. And then for the divisional artillery, as I say, slightly lesser, just 4-gun batteries, 2 4-gun batteries, 1 with 6-pounders, which has slightly less range, and but gave them some howitzers, which for fun. So you got that, I guess, lobbing of shells across over the heads of people. So that's the 12-pounder field howitzers. And again, the Confederate commanders decided to divvy up their artillery batteries, one per brigade. Then we had the 2nd division, which again, 1st brigade was 2 regs, 1 light with sharpshooter skirmish and 1 small. And then the 2nd brigade was 5 regular infantry regiments, quite a big brigade there, with the rebel yell as well. And then we had the artillery, which was 2 batteries of 4 guns, 6-pounders. And then cavalry, we again attached cavalry brigade, was 2 regular cavalry, 2 small. These had rifle carbines. So that was the Confederate Army, 1,500 points, so slightly bigger pointage than the Union. That was to reflect the fact they were attacking, and the Union would start in a more of a defensive position, which in black powder can be an advantage in terms of trying to break through in defensive structures, etc. So that was the forces. So we'll head off into the game proper and see how we go on with that. Right, so this was the table setup for the evening. We'd put together a 6x4 table and a 4x4 table, so 10x4 plain area, which was, for this size of game, was really good. I've never played anything that big before, so it was nice to have all the models there, but also have a bit of space to manoeuvre and space to move around. We based the board setup on this scenario that's in Glory Hallelujah, which you can see there on the table there, for Bartlett's Farm. So you've got this central farm area, which is Redditch Farm, and then that's where the Union will be deploying first, and then the Confederates deploy along this edge here, and then basically the Union will be coming on in reserves, and you have to roll to where they come on. So you can either come on in these areas here or down here. So you have to roll for random deployment. There's a feature here, so this is a kind of small river brook, which just basically is rough ground, and you can cross via this bridge here as well. And then there's a few farms, fields dotted around, so some cornfields. These yellow ones are cornfields. They were basically rough ground as well, and blocked line of sight. If you had one unit here and one unit here, you couldn't see across. And then some of these fields had fencing, which was basically light cover against musketry fire. And as I said in the opening, there was a little churchyard up there, which is on that side of the Union line. So as I said at the start of the game, so the Confederates are trying to basically push across, attack this centre where the Union deployed before the Union reserves and reinforcements can arrive and help for the day. One of the other things that we did was we did roll for some attributes for our divisional commanders. So myself, Luke, and George and Mike. So George and Luke got hesitant. So basically that means they had to, if they got a 3-move order off, they had to re-roll it. And myself and Mike got decisive, which was good. So we basically get to re-roll the failed command roll if we want to, which does mean that we could have a bit more flexibility, I guess, where we put our ourselves and the brigade commanders. So once that was all done, we got on with the actual setup. So I'll come over to that next. And this was Luke's deployment. So he had the 1st Division. So what he did, you could have up to 1 regiment into Redditch Farm itself, which he put there, plus a battery of guns. So we set them up, and then basically he put all his units around the farm here in march column. And his thoughts were, so you have the brigade commander here, which was, as you can see, downgraded to 7. That's Luke there. That's his divisional commander. You just see a little marker there saying hesitant. And the brigade commander behind the tree there, so that's the brigade there, and this one's part of this group here. So basically, he kind of felt like he should put them in march column, therefore, once the Confederates are deployed, he could then have an advantage of the free or the additional command role you get for have people in march column, your units in march column. You know, we decided at the start of the game we weren't going to really, it's your division, you do what you want with your division, we'll collaborate in terms of tactics. But like you would in the field, you know, your divisional generals would really have a bit of autonomy to do what they wanted to. So I didn't really want to interfere with his deployment, but I did feel like he was maybe a little bit bunched up around here. Like he could have probably spread out a bit more, maybe like his guns are back here, maybe could have kind of made him a bit more in an advanced position. But anyway, that's how he set up. But you'll see as the game goes on, he became a little bit boxed in there as the Confederates came across. So that was the initial deployment for the 1st Division of the Union. I had the 2nd Division, so they were the reserve, and also the cavalry brigade was in reserve, plus the corps commander was coming on in that after that as well. So let's have a look at the Confederates deployment. And this is the Confederate deployment. As you can see, there was the Union there, and then basically we've got the 1st Division down here, got the 2nd Division in the centre, and you've got your cavalry brigade out on the left. Also, the corps commander was down here supporting that right flank. And the Confederate generals had a very basic plan. They basically would use a central division to push across and attack directly at Bartlett's Farm, whilst using the corps commander to support a right hook coming around this way onto the farm there. And then the cavalry were going to be effectively a mobile reserve for their army. So a good, simple, straightforward plan. And you'll see how effective that corps commander was as we go on. And just some close-ups of the armies there. So that's Central Confederate Division, and then the right. Now I wanted to show this photo because it gives you a good it shows you how that was quite effective. So you've got the corps commander here, then you've got your divisional commander here, who was attached to this brigade at the start. So that's your brigade commander. So you can see they're attached. So effectively, he's giving him a re-roll of his orders, but also he's also within command range of the corps commander, so he could use his command rating of 9, and also this brigade commander, who had been downgraded to 7, would also be able to use that command rating of 9. And that really did help this whole division to be really flexible and move around quite. They basically passed a lot of their orders and was able to move quite quickly. So really good use of those command abilities. And then we've just got the cavalry brigade on the left there. Moving on to this is kind of towards the end of this first turn. As you can see, the Confederates have made a good advance across. The Browns one had limited their movement though, but this left hook, or right hook from the Confederate side here, with the corps commander, as you can see how much movement they got. This is the 1st Brigade, the 2nd Brigade's there. So that really helped them to manoeuvre very quickly around the left side of the Union lines. And also you'll notice there was some, well, you might not notice, but there's 2 batteries of guns deployed there. They managed to get some early fire into the farm, and you'll just notice there that's a disordered token and a casualty there. So bit of early casualties for the Union before they could get into any kind of serious deployment. And you can see my point now, because of that really rapid advance across Brown's Run, Luke found himself a little bit boxed in here very early on in terms of what to do with the organisation of his units, basically. This was the left flank of the Confederate line, so this is the cavalry that had moved up, and they basically dismounted into the skirmishing screen on their left side while they focused all their attention on the centre. Right, so this was my division coming onto the board. Now, as I said to you at the start, I had to roll to where we came in, and unfortunately, every one of these 3 brigades along here ended up in this corner. So this is that skirmishing screen of Confederate cavalry, as I mentioned, whereas all of the action was over this way, and I'm right in this corner, tucked away. So not a great start in terms of just where the reinforcements are arriving from. And despite being decisive, I did blunder on my first command roll, on my second command roll, should I say. So this unit here ended up going off the table. So that was a really crap start to the game for the Union reinforcements. So that was the last move of the turn, actually, for me, which was useful because I managed to get these moving and also got the cavalry to move up. And they basically charged at a unit of the skirmishing dismounted cav, and they basically evaded back that way. So a little bit of early action for the US cavalry, and then I managed to then move this brigade across into that field there. This was before the blunder, and basically you've got the horse artillery up in support as well. They've got that marauder special rule, so they were able to kind of support there. Got the battery, so did manage to get a bit of movement across here, but lost a whole brigade in that move off the board. And again, a bit tight for space around here. The Confederates are already kind of lining up, but on the move nonetheless. So at the end of the turn now, and Luke had managed to get one of his brigades to move out to here and form up into lines. Unfortunately, because they had made more than one move, he couldn't shoot, because that's one of the rules in American Civil War. He also probably got himself a little bit tight here with the 2 units kind of together, so maybe could have extended his line a bit this side, but it is where they ended up. But at least he got some sort of formation going now for some counterfire, but couldn't get anything off on the first turn. Right, so on to turn 2. So Confederates really started to make hay now. I don't think they failed their order for at least first couple of turns. They were doing so well. This is Mick's division, or Mike's division, and he managed to get them again coming across Brown's Run into lines here. Luke had an absolute nightmare as well. I blundered on that turn. He blundered on this one. He had a 6-gun, 12-pounder battery. He blundered, and so basically, and the way he rolled it, they charged into this field. They were limbered as well, so meant that Mike could basically just charge into them and destroyed them straight away, which was a nightmare, because that 6-gun battery I think would have been absolutely fantastic for holding up this centre, because charging formed artillery is very difficult in ACW, but they were still limbered, so easy casualties, and an absolute disaster for Luke there to lose those guns so early. And you can see here Mike's division was really pushing onto the farm now. He's got batteries deployed here, we've got units coming round. So a lot of pressure coming onto that centre for the Union. And then George managed to get 2 units deployed here. And again, you see the Corps Commander right in the thick of the action, giving his command bonus out right and left to these commanders here, which really helped to manoeuvre this whole gun line into place. So Luke coming under tremendous pressure in the centre and on his left flank, whilst I'm still marching across the field to the right. That's just bad luck, because if I'd have come on this side, it really would have given George something to think about, because he had a whole division coming in here. As it was, he was free to just manoeuvre as he wanted to around on this flank here. And the result was pretty bad. So we had this unit was shaken and disordered, this front unit was disordered, and then this unit was shaken here. That's that disordered unit. And one of the victory conditions was to break 2 brigades. So already Luke had a shaken unit here, disorder. So meant he's going to have to start putting resources into rallying to try and hold it together. So yeah, early pressure onto to Luke in that respect, and being hesitant commander as well, that didn't help in terms of trying to sort those sort of things out. I also didn't come off very well in this turn, so the this is me coming across with my brigade here, and this regiment got a hammering from some skirmishing fire from the Union dismounted cavalry, so again disordered there. I did manage to get, but I had de facto command of the cavalry at this point, so I managed to push across and get a bit of a hand-to-hand combat with this rebel unit here, so I managed to push them off back, which I'll show you in a second, so at least a little bit of payback for the Union on this right flank. And this is my 2nd brigade coming onto the board finally. In this, managed to get them on this turn. Don't worry about the casualty markers, they're just there for, we just put them there as a bit of a convenient place on the board. The corps commander came on as well. Decided to put the corps commander on this side of the board where I was trying to manoeuvre, to try and give me try to, I guess, mirror what the Confederates were doing. But even with this superior command rating, I think these only got like 1 move. So again, kind of really late. If you think about it, that's the centre of the board there. Luke's all the way over here. I'm just lumbering across in march column, not really adding anything. There's a whole battery of 6 guns here, not doing anything. So really trying to hurry up and basically help. But Luke did manage to get a few casualties back onto the Confederate line here, and also it did manage to rally off that casualty. But again, it did puts him under a bit of pressure to roll successfully when he's only got a command rating of 7 effectively to do so. We did have the re-roll, and that's me chasing off the cavalry regiment there. So that was a bit of success for the Union. And again, I managed to get my 2 units here into line. So again, a few casualties coming across the line here. And on to turn 3. So this is turn 3. Start with the Confederates. Again, this corps commander here is having you can see what's happened here. This is the divisional commander. So we've managed to get this brigade to sweep right round here to this flank here. So this is Luke's brigade. He's now got Confederates all the way around in this L shape around him. So that's why I was saying if I could have just come on, even 1 brigade on this side would have really helped to halt that advance. But as it was, you can see this big gap here where they're trying to manoeuvre into, and the big gap between the Union lines. So Confederates doing so well on their rolls, but this combination of the corps commander, divisional commander, really was helping him out in that respect. And then in the centre again, they're pushing right across. That 6-gun battery had been here, so that's gone now. Although Luke did manage to get his units into line. But here's the problem he had. So because of the proximity rule you get in Black Powder, if you're when you come to initiative rolls, you can only, and you're in proximity, you can only move forward or away from the enemy. And so because the Confederates moved so quickly across here, this unit was kind of stuck behind because they couldn't move forward. They didn't really need to move back. What you wanted them was to be around here in this hole. But you have to order them to do that, and he just could not get that order off. So they were kind of stuck behind. So really just had that 1 unit there, and this one stuck behind in march column. And again, he kept him in march column just to make sure he could get a free move if he needed it. But he did manage to get a battery of guns here to try and put a bit of firepower across. And then on their left flank, you see like that was the cavalry successfully pushed across. He managed basically they just did a bit of a tactical retreat across here with their cavalry and went into skirmish lines again. And really although there was a bit of success for the Union here, I mean this isn't really where the action is. The action's over this side. Yeah, so they just a bit of a tactical retreat there by the Confederates. And the result was a disaster. This whole brigade broke. So we had firepower coming across from the lines all the way across. You can imagine the toll it was taking on that brigade there, and they broke, and that included the unit that was in the farm here. So yeah, fantastic turn 3 for the Confederates, a disaster for the Union, yeah, they went. By the way, you can show the units retreating, but we just take them off when they break. It just clears the board a little bit. Okay, so we're into turn 4 now. So that's just the position. So the Confederates, Mike managed to move regiments into the farm. Again, don't worry about all the counters, they were just there for a bit of storage. But this is now the Confederates occupying Redditch Farm. He also got battery guns deployed as well. So yeah, this was looking pretty grim now for the Union in the centre. And this was the other side. So again, managing to get his units all the way across here into line. So I think, and you can see this is my brigade up here, just still trying to manoeuvre towards the Confederate lines. And this was the problem. We just could not get into anything of a significant gun line early enough in the game, and it just meant that the Confederates were able to spread out, pour fire across onto our lines, and it just really made things difficult. This unit here had done a tactical, a disorderly retreat off the line to try and freshen up this line here for this regiment here that moved forward. That one I said was stuck earlier. But again, you've only got one regiment here up against two, so very difficult to get any kind of casualties. I mean, you see a few coming along the line here for the Confederates, but no shaken units as of yet. And again, this combination of the corps commander and the divisional commander, this whole brigade swept around into the gap left by that broken unit. So now you've got Confederates all the way across here, and Luke's really isolated here. You can just see my edge of my division there. It's so far away, it was just difficult. And just another angle there from the centre. And again, this unit became shaken. So again, getting counter battery fire here across into there really was starting to cause problems now. Another shaken unit. And this was my centre, effectively. So although I managed to get deployed, I had a disordered unit there. My artillery was disordered. The horse artillery was disordered. So you can imagine the amount of firepower was coming across. Just Mike and George were going to get a 6, at some point rolling. So again, that's really hindering my counter battery fire back. The only success I had was, again, I managed to get the cavalry. This was the Union cavalry deploying into skirmish, and really now pushed the whole of the Confederate cavalry brigade back. But it's a minor victory really in this grand scheme of things. Like I say, all the action was over this side. But I did manage to get a couple of units out into skirmish order, into line. So again, just trying to plug this gap, and Luke had got this unit to put there. But the weight of numbers was, it was only. In some respects, we knew the inevitable was not far away. And again, this is just the centre. I managed to get a few casualties onto there. So this is Luke's unit here. So Luke managed to get a few casualties on. But again, no shaken units whatsoever for the Confederates. And then we go into turn 5. So at this point, we've been playing for our best part of 3 hours, so we were all a bit tired. Me and Luke felt like the Union Army looked on the table. But this picture just represents what had happened. So again, Corps Commander here managed to help push this whole Confederate line round. And again, they got the farm here. So realistically, inevitable was going to come now. We were just under so much pressure from them. It was late in the day. You can see here, you've got, this is the angle from, this is my side, isn't it? So this is the Union line here, but you can see the amount of Confederates that are massing on that flank there and across the centre. We've got 2 batteries of guns now into Redditch Farm here. So yeah, we're really struggling here in terms of the weight of numbers. And this is another picture of the centre here. So again, you can just see that Confederate gun line going all the way across there. I guess I managed to get some artillery into position, but we're in turn 5 now. So you're almost at the end of the game. It wasn't really going to make much difference. We weren't close to even breaking anything on the Confederate side. Again, this just shows you a picture of the extent of the Confederate gun line coming all the way down the lines here. I've still got units here in march column. We've got a unit there that's disordered, retreated. So yeah, we just weren't really effective in getting enough guns into play early enough. And again, just a few pictures around Redditch Farm. And this was the last still of the game, just showing. It was at this point we, despite making some advances with the Union cavalry, we decided that was enough. It was getting late. It was dark on the battlefield and dark outside. So we decided to call it a day, and we shook hands, and it was a Confederate victory. So that was it, and I'll just come back and give you my final thoughts on the game. Right then, so hopefully you enjoyed that. I know it's a completely different format to what I usually do, but I thought it was just nice to capture the fact that you know, these games can be kind of multiplayer games, and how those kind of work. I thought the scenario itself was, I mean, I've played it before as a solo battle report on a 6x4, and I thought it worked really well. I guess it was, if I was looking back on it, I think I wasn't expecting to play. As I said, I was going to just GM the game. So I think I hadn't got my game head on. I was thinking about the pictures, and I was helping the guys in terms of the overall scenario. And although they used black powder, there was some nuances to AC, you know, American Civil War rules and stuff like that. So I probably wasn't 100% on it. And Luke was brilliant, to be honest. But I think because the Confederates are so quickly at the board, I mean, literally, as you saw by turn 2, literally they'd surrounded us around Luke's division anyway. So just really, and I think with the roles, the randomness of where the Union players were coming on, in terms of, forces were coming on, and all in that one corner, just had the dice rolls, I guess, made it a very difficult game for the Union to really get into it and win. But I mean, it's probably not captured in the pictures, but when we had great fun doing it, and me and Luke were having a good laugh, to be honest, about it, and it was quite fun to play. Might not have looked like that on the pictures, I guess, because we looked like we were just basically getting battered, which we effectively were in some respects. But it was still a fun game. There was a lot of banter across the table, and we were just having a bit of a laugh about the Union's bad luck, really. I mean, we were the only side that blundered. I think George and Mike got all of their roles pretty much all the time. So, and that's just how it goes sometimes with I mean, they had a bit of tactics within that, and but we had a great time, really good, and that's the main thing. We all had a good time, everybody had a good laugh. Everybody said, "Oh, let's do it again." Even Luke, who lost as well. So it was like, "Yeah, we need to do this again. I'll do it differently next time," type thing. So really good fun. And so anyway, there you go. So usual stuff, guys. Any likes and comments, all the usual stuff that helps to get the feedback from you is always appreciated. And some more battle reports coming to you very soon. So take care, and catch you all very soon.